All right, let's get ready for takeoff because today we're diving headfirst into the world of aviation.
Sounds exciting.
You guys sent in some seriously cool stuff about becoming an aircraft pilot.
Oh, nice.
Seems like some of you are ready to ditch them traffic jams and take to the skies, huh?
I can't blame them. There's something about flying that just captures the imagination.
Totally. And we've got the inside scoop to help you get there. Career guides, interview tips, even AI tools. We're covering it all.
AI tools, now that's interesting. It really goes to show how much the industry is changing.
It's changing fast. But some things never get old, like the enduring appeal of being a pilot.
Right. It's not just about flying, though, is it? I mean, think about it. It's about mastering incredibly complex machines. It's about making split-second decisions, often under intense pressure. And of course, it's about holding the safety of hundreds of people in your hands.
It's a huge responsibility, for sure. Speaking of responsibility, this career guide we've got here mentions something pretty eye-catching. The average pilot salary, get this, $121,430.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not too shabby.
Not at all. But is that actually realistic, like in the real world?
Yeah, it's definitely in the ballpark. But like any career, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. How much you can earn as a pilot really depends on a bunch of things. Like, what's your experience level? What kind of plane are you flying? Are you hauling cargo or people?
So like flying for a major airline versus, say, a cargo company, those are totally different ballparks.
They can be, yeah. Even within cargo, it can vary a lot. This guide actually mentions that cargo pilots flying, say, sensitive medical equipment or hazardous materials, they often earn a pretty penny.
Makes sense. Higher stakes, higher pay. And of course, we can't forget about those certifications.
Yeah.
ATPL, CPL, all those acronyms.
Right, right. The alphabet soup of aviation, they make a huge difference. You've got your ATPL, airline transport pilot license. That's the gold standard, the one you need to be a captain on those big passenger jets. Then there's the CPL, commercial pilot license. That one allows you to fly for hire, but maybe on smaller aircraft or less demanding routes.
So it's like a ladder. You climb your way up with experience and certifications.
Exactly. And what I really like about this guide is how it breaks down those career stages.
Okay.
You know, from entry level all the way up to senior pilot. They even have these sample profiles, which I think is a really nice touch.
Yeah, those profiles are cool. It's like getting a sneak peek into the life of a pilot at each stage. You can see what they do on a daily basis, what kind of challenges they face. It's pretty insightful.
It is. And you start to realize it's a steep learning curve,
Yeah.
but incredibly rewarding at the same time.
Speaking of learning curves, what kind of person actually thrives under the pressure of being a pilot? Because we're not just talking about memorizing a bunch of flight patterns here. It seems like you need a certain personality, a certain mindset to handle whatever gets thrown at you.
Right. You're absolutely right. It takes a special kind of person.
Oh, totally.
It takes a certain blend of, composure, adaptability, that kind of thing. You got to think on your feet and stay calm under pressure. It's not enough to just love planes. You got to love the pressure too. And that reminds me of something this career guide does really well.
What's that?
They don't sugarcoat the challenges. They have this whole pros and cons list, and the cons section, it's not pulling any punches.
Yeah, it's true. It's not all like glamorous international travel and fancy uniforms.
Right. There's long hours, lots of time away from home and family. And then there's the stress factor, which, let's be real, it's ever present. You're responsible for hundreds of lives every time you fly.
That's a heavy weight on your shoulders for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of pressure, I was looking through these interview questions you pulled.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them are pretty intense, like, how do you handle emergency situations, or how would you navigate challenging weather conditions? That's a lot of pressure in an interview setting.
It is. And they're not just trying to trip you up. Those questions get right to the heart of what it takes to be a pilot. You need to be able to think clearly and act decisively even when things get chaotic.
So it's like having a plan for when things go wrong, but then being able to adapt on the fly when the unexpected happens, which it always does.
Exactly. And that takes training and experience, sure, but it also takes a certain mindset, a way of approaching problems. This guide actually lists judgment and decision-making as one of the core skills for pilots.
Oh, wow. Alongside the technical stuff.
Absolutely. It's right up there with operation and control and all that jazz. They even put a percentage on it, 61%. So it's not just about knowing how to fly the plane, it's about knowing what to do when the going gets tough.
That's a good point, because when you're up in the air, there's no room for second guessing, right?
Yeah.
You got to trust your gut and make the call.
100%. A split-second decision can make all the difference. That's why pilots go through so much training, so many simulations. It's about building that muscle memory, that instinct to react quickly and effectively under pressure.
Speaking of preparation, I saw this thing called RoleCatcher in the materials you sent. It's like AI-powered interview prep, which sounds kind of wild.
Yeah.
Are pilots really using this kind of technology?
AI is popping up everywhere these days, and the aviation industry is no exception. What's cool about RoleCatcher is that it's tailored specifically for pilots.
So it understands the specific challenges and requirements of the job.
Exactly. It's not just some generic job hunting tool. It knows what airlines are looking for, what kind of questions they'll ask, the whole 9 yards.
It's like having a secret weapon, right? Especially in such a competitive field.
Hmm.
But, with all this talk about AI and algorithms,
Yeah.
it makes you wonder about the human side of things. Like,
Yeah.
where does that fit in?
That's a really good point. Because technology, it can definitely give you an edge, but it can't replace what makes a pilot truly great.
Okay, so what does set a candidate apart then? Is it all about the flight hours, the certifications?
Mhm.
Can you really impress an AI? What's the key?
Well, all those things matter, of course. But I always go back to that interview question we talked about earlier, the one about how you first got interested in flying.
Oh, yeah.
That question, it's not just there to make conversation. It's about getting to the heart of who you are as a pilot. What drives you? What's your story? It's about going beyond the resume, you know?
The story behind the resume.
Yeah.
I like that. And this guide, it also talks a lot about networking, joining pilot associations, going to industry events. Is that really still important these days with everything being online?
It's more important than ever. Yeah, online platforms are great, don't get me wrong. But nothing beats face-to-face interaction. Aviation, it's a community, right? It's about connecting with people who share your passion.
So, like, going to those conferences, actually meeting people in person, that still carries a lot of weight.
It does. And it's not just about handing out business cards. It's about having real conversations, hearing about other pilots' experiences, learning from them. You might pick up on some tips, hear about job openings that never get posted
It
online.
makes sense. So much happens through word of mouth, right? It's
But-
about tapping into that network.
Exactly. And, speaking of networks, this RoleCatcher thing we were talking about, it has this feature called Get Discovered.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. What's that all about?
It's pretty neat, actually. It uses these algorithms and industry databases to connect your profile with potential employers. So even if you haven't met someone in person yet, RoleCatcher can kind of put you on their radar,
So it's like a virtual wingman for your career,
Yeah.
having you get noticed.
Exactly, because ultimately it's about being visible, both online and offline. It's about showing them who you are, what you bring to the table, your skills, your experience, but also your passion, your personality. It's about standing out.
So what we're really talking about here is combining those hard skills, the technical stuff, with those all-important soft skills.
Yeah.
Because that's how you make a lasting impression, right?
Absolutely. And remember, aviation, it's constantly evolving. New technology, new regulations. It's a fast-paced field.
You got to be able to keep up, for sure.
And the pilots who really thrive, they're the ones who are always learning, always adapting.
So for anyone listening who dreams of becoming a pilot, here's something to think about. Imagine yourself at one of these industry events. You're surrounded by experienced pilots. What's the one story you would tell to really grab their attention?
That's a good one.
What experience, what lesson, what moment in your life really solidified your passion for aviation? Because at the end of the day, it's not just about checking off boxes on a list. It's about connecting with people on a human level, sharing your passion, and letting your unique story take flight. This has been an awesome deep dive to the world of aviation. We've talked about the challenges and rewards of being a pilot, explored the importance of both hard and soft skills, and even touched on the evolving world of AI and recruitment. It's clear that the aviation industry is full of opportunities for those who are passionate and dedicated to reaching new heights.
That really is an amazing field.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and never stop chasing those dreams.